Thank you, Bimbo, for the weather report. My name is David, and welcome back to the History Amex channel. Today, we will be featuring a special guest, Mr. Lev Stambler, and he's an expert on Fort Lee and torque.
Oh, hi, David.
Hi, Lev. So, Mr. Stambler, can you tell me more about Fort Lee, or yourself?
Sure. So I was born in Inglewood Hospital, but I lived in Fort Lee for the first 6 years of my life. I grew up there, went to elementary school there for a year, and had a great time. The reason we moved was because our house was too small, but it was nothing against Fort Lee. So first off, I remember spending my days on Abbott Boulevard, which is a very nice, quaint strip of land in Fort Lee, where you have roads running on two sides and a green bar in the middle of them. It was great for playing around with my brother. I remember I would ride toy trucks there and stuff. It was really cool. There was a park right next to me, as there are multiple parks in Fort Lee stationed near each residency, each group of residents, where you can go play. My park was called Fireman's Park, and there was a big statue of firemen. It was in honor of the firemen who died in 9/11. Remember, after that, there's this one ice cream place in Fort Lee. It's run by, it's like a mom and pop shop, but it's rated one of the best ice cream places in Bergen County by Zagat for 2018. It was amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed my time at Fort Lee for those first 6 years. And I actually go back quite often, quite regularly. And yeah, it's a great place to be, and 10 out of 10 would recommend to anybody looking to move there.
Cool. So, tell me about the public facilities. What are they like? What are the public facilities?
So Fort Lee has one of the largest collections of books in Bergen County in its Fort Lee Public Library. It was a great place to hang out. It has a lot of nice facilities where you can sit, read books, study. And moreover, Fort Lee has a community center with a great gym, classrooms, places to be educated. And anybody who's above 5 years old there, I remember being like 4 years old and was so frustrated I wouldn't be allowed in, can really take advantage of that space. Moreover, the public spaces, again, all the parks, are really great for anybody looking to really get out of that more urban feel of Fort Lee and get more into the suburban feel of Bergen County. Also great reasons. But there's also the more private sort of public spaces like JCC and different community centers where people can aggregate, swim, go to the gym, and really have a good time.
Cool. And one more thing about food. How's the food there? That's what everyone wants to know.
Sure. So just like with the ice cream shop, it's Zagat's top 10 places to eat in Bergen County for 2018. And I'm sure for this year too. Fingers crossed. So there's a lot of great Korean food there, as it is a very large Asian hub with 31% of its population being Asian. So you're going to find a lot of Korean restaurants, Japanese and Chinese restaurants, and an occasional Vietnamese restaurant, there's some very fantastic Vietnamese restaurants in Fort Lee. You really can't go wrong with Asian food, but there's also great Italian food. Fort Lee has very strong roots in Italian culture, so the pizza you're going to find in Fort Lee will really be some of the best pizza you're going to get in New Jersey, and it's very similar to the pizza you're going to find in, say, Brooklyn. And it's very thin crust, very crisp, and it's super authentic to this area.
Interesting. I would like to try that as well. So, how about New York City accessibility? If you want to try some other places or go explore,
Fort Lee, the George Washington Bridge, one of its sides connects to Fort Lee. Fort Lee is literally a bridge ride across from New York City, from Upper Manhattan. It's not like other towns in Bergen County which brag about being so many miles from New York City. Fort Lee is right there next to New York City. It's only a bus ride across, or for free you can actually carpool with people who are looking to lower their fare across the bridge, because if they're by themselves it costs them around $15, but with doing a carpool across the bridge is $5, so they pick people up. So you can go to the city for free. It's completely safe. I've done it a couple times. It's a lot of fun. It's a great system. And moreover, yes, there is traffic across the bridge, but there's traffic for any way getting into New York City sometimes, Lincoln Tunnel, what have you. And if you really want to, you can take a one road down to Edgewater and drive there for a little, and then take a ferry across the Hudson to get to mid-Manhattan, which is a great method. It's a little more expensive, so not recommended for your daily commute. But yeah, if you work in New York City, especially in Manhattan, Fort Lee is a perfect place to be. You're not always stuck in that crazy hustle and bustle of the city. It's so easy just to take the bus and get to New York City. Then you just take a transit.
Wow, that's quite convenient there. It's a nice place.
Very nice.
So, how about the city or suburban feel? Like, what's the difference, I guess?
You always hear suburban people talking about how they want more of a city feel, and city people talking about how they want more of an suburban feel. Fort Lee is the combination of both. With a constantly growing high-rise skyline, there are new high-rises being built every day, as I'm sure you've seen, the new towers,
Yes,
the residency towers.
Of course.
Yes, they have a more urban feel to it, and there's the downtown, which is relatively urban. There are a few buildings, but also it's dense, it's populated, it feels like it's fast-moving. Cars are always honking at each other, which is sometimes fun. But you also have those nice green areas of land. Like where I grew up, Abbott Boulevard is just a well-known street in Fort Lee, where it's completely suburban feel. Again, you have those grass strips between the streets. You have trees covering everywhere. So really, if you want the suburban, you just take one block of travel away from that downtown area, and you get to the suburban feel. You want the downtown area, you want to go like for a complete mix of food cultures, you can go right there to downtown. It's definitely a good mix.
And how about the culture there? Like the demographics of what people are there?
So Fort Lee is a majority white, 62%, 31% Asian, 1.73% African American, and 0.07% Native American, and around 3% others, which are very small percentages aggregated.
Yeah.
While it's not necessarily the most diverse place as New York City, it does have some diversity in the sense that it's not just a homogeneous area. You do have different cultures there constantly mixing, and you'll find that while there's not a large proportion of African Americans there, you're definitely going to still find a few, like, it doesn't feel completely whitewashed or completely, like, let's say Asian wash. It's definitely a good mix of everything, and yeah.
Seems nice. And then finally, how about the crime rate? We probably don't want to live like in a high crime rate city.
Well, it's not. It has a good crime. It has a good crime rate in the sense that it's low. For every 1,000 residents, there's only 9 crimes committed. It's lower than 73%. It's like 70. It's better than 73% of American communities in terms of crime rate, and that accounts not just for violent crimes but also property crimes. So, like, I don't know, accidentally putting some of your stuff on somebody else's land, trespassing, what have you. So it is a very low crime rate, and you're not going to find any large crimes such as murder or any sort of homicides.
Thank you, Mr. Lev Stambler, for the Fort Lee information. We'll see you next time.